You do not talk to your husband. In my house, you will learn to obey.
In a Mahi village, a bunch of raiders are chilling by the campfire after taking Dahomey captives to sell to European slavers. They are no longer part of Dahomey. They hear a noise and turn to look. The Dahomey general, Naniska, rises from the bushes, and she's not alone. An army of Agojie warriors pops out of the foliage. The women mop the floor with the Mahi raiders and crash into the village. Naniska tackles a guy and demands answers. He plays innocent, but Amenza throws up a curtain, revealing a bunch of terrified captives, and the farmer's throat is slit. The next morning, the warriors cover their fallen sister and tie up the Mahi captives. Naniska finds a horseshoe and realizes the Mahi are in league with their arch-nemesis, the Oyo Empire. Izogi informs Naniska that the prisoners are ready to march. Back in the Kingdom of Dahomey, horns announce the return of the Agojie. The rescued women reunite with their families. Then, as the warriors march in, everyone bows their heads. They're forbidden to look directly at the Agojie. But a plucky girl, Nawi, sneaks a glance anyway. Nawi returns home, and her siblings are hype. A suitor is waiting. Her friend says he might be handsome. Spoiler, he's not. And he's old and big-backed. He owns 3 palm fields and casually announces that Nawi will be laboring in them. She says nothing, so he slaps her to help the words come out. He grabs her arm, and she shoves his big bakery down. Her dad doesn't love this development, so he hauls her to the palace and donates her to the king. Izogi takes her inside, and she gets her first glimpse of this new life. A life without fugly, disappointing men sounds amazing to her. Elsewhere, Oyo soldiers show up at the Mahi village. They find the dead Agojie and plot revenge. Meanwhile, King Gezo walks in a hallway, and his wife talks to the alopecious man, annoyed that her husband just loves Naniska. King Gezo meets the council. Naniska tells him to ditch the slave trade and invest in something less cursed, like palm oil and gold. The rest of the council agrees with her, but Gezo tells Naniska to prove her palm oil dreams aren't fantasy, and he'll consider it. Training kicks off. Nawi's got a lot of heart, but 0 skills. Still, Nawi and Izogi hit it off and formed a bond. During a demonstration, the training dummies' heads explode. Naniska demands to know who the resident prankster is. Of course, it's Nawi. Naniska asks how she did it, and Nawi explains that you don't need guns to use gunpowder, just a spark. Naniska takes a mental note, then proceeds to scold her. Nawi talks back and nearly gets expelled for having too much pride. After some time, an Oyo delegation rolls in to collect tribute, led by General Oba Ada. Naniska recognizes his ugly ass as the man who abused her in the past. Oba complains that Dahomey is slacking on tribute payments. Oba responds by demanding 40 Agojie warriors. Gezo caves, and they agree to deliver 20 Agojie warriors. Naniska handpicks them. Nawi is among the chosen. Naniska excuses herself as she's reliving her trauma all over again. At the port, slave ship captain Santo Ferreira and his sidekick Malik come ashore. They wander into town and see cages, chains, and human misery. Then Naniska shows up with the 20 Agojie and announces they bring tribute from King Gezo. Oba mocks them in front of the European onlookers and says Dahomey has to send women because their male soldiers must all be off doing their nails. But the Oyo will put the women to better use. Naniska says not so fast. The soldiers are not the tribute. Then she flips a basket, revealing the real gift. Oyo heads, fresh and organic. The Agojie run off, but Naniska stays behind, clearly in a mood. Nawi drops the gate to cut off incoming soldiers. Naniska and Oba duel until Nawi snaps her out of her revenge trance. They take off together, run straight off a cliff, and swim to safety. But instead of gratitude, Naniska chews Nawi out for going rogue, and Amenza and Izogi exchange glances. Afterwards, Amenza reminds Naniska that she also went rogue, but Naniska says that was her plan all along, to take his head. The next day, Naniska takes King Gezo on a tour of a palm field. He's impressed. Apparently, you can build an economy without human trafficking. But since war is already underway, they'll just go ahead and conquer the Oyo anyway. Back at Ouida, Oba schmoozes with Ferreira and other Europeans. He promises they'll attack Dahomey soon, and there'll be plenty more slaves to sell. Malik listens and realizes this trip may not be morally enriching. Ferreira tells him that if he wants to see Dahomey, they should go now, before it gets flattened. Somewhere by a waterfall, Nawi is sharpening her sword when she hears a sound. It's Malik. She holds his clothes hostage and suggests he hike back to Ouida, butt naked, like the cargo he profits from. But Malik insists he's not a slaver, and Nawi is surprised he can understand her. He reveals his mom was Dahomey and was captured. She talked about the place so much, he had to come see for himself. She returns the clothes. Then Ferreira calls out, and she makes herself scarce before he arrives. Soon enough, Ferreira and Malik are presenting themselves to King Gezo. Gezo welcomes him and tells him he's just in time for the Agoji finals. The girls begin their obstacle course from hell. First up, running through a thorn brush. Nawi gets through it, but heroically goes back for a stuck friend. It costs her time, but she kicks it into high gear and still crosses the finish line first. Gezo rewards her with a sword. Later, Izogi patches up Nawi. Naniska walks in and flashes her own battle scars for inspiration. But when she sees one of Nawi's old scars, things get weird. Nawi says it was already there when her dad adopted her from an orphanage, and Naniska leaves. Amenza follows, and Naniska demands answers about the baby, the one she gave up after being abused and escaping captivity. Amenza says she handed it to some missionaries. Naniska thinks Nawi is her daughter, then scoffs and pretends it's totally ridiculous. Meanwhile, Ferreira confronts Gezo about quitting the slave business to go full palm oil merchant. Ferreira tries to convince him there'd be too much fallout, but he doesn't get through to him. Later that night, Nawi sneaks off to meet Malik for another rendezvous. She tells him he's better than the company he keeps. As if to prove her point, he drops intel. Oyo and friends are marching on Dahomey. They exchange parting gifts. He gets a trinket, and she takes his knife. She runs straight to Naniska and tattles. Naniska goes off on her again and tells her that her arrogance and stupidity could get her captured someday. Nawi claps back. She's not Naniska and won't end up captured. Naniska decides it's time for a big reveal. She admits she was captured, that she was abused, and that she was pregnant when she escaped. Agoji are virgin warrior, and no one would buy an immaculate conception story, so she had to give up the baby. But before she did, she put an Apple AirTag in it, or a shark tooth, then the moment of truth. She cuts open Nawi's old scar. Nawi fishes around and pulls out a shark tooth. She runs off in shock. The next day, Naniska channels her trauma into genius. Inspired by Nawi's prank, she cooks up a plan involving buried jars of gunpowder disguised as anthills. Before going into battle, the Agoji dance it out and get a pep talk from Naniska. Then they march. As they near the Oyo camp, Naniska lights the hidden bombs, and they make an explosive entrance. Fight time. The blindsided Oyo get wrecked and retreat, but they still manage to snatch some Agoji. After the battle, Amenza tells Naniska that Nawi is missing. Back at Port Ouida, Oba is busy planning his escape from consequences. Returning home would mean facing the music, so he tells his guy they need to go abroad. They decide to auction off Agoji, since bids are higher for warriors. Nawi sees Izogi in the Barracoon. She's not doing great. Arms broken, morale is worse. Izogi brings up Naniska's last resort plan to self-delete if captured, but Nawi says not today. She guilt trips her back into fight mode and even snaps her bone back into place. Back home, Naniska is summoned to a council meeting. Gezo announces that he's decided it's time to crown a woman king. Requirements: beloved by the people, inspiring, visionary, the usual job interview fluff. Obviously, he picks Naniska. Obvious to everyone except Shante. Gezo declares it's time to party, but Naniska reminds him they have people dead or captured, so maybe not just yet. Gezo says they sacrificed a few for the many. When she pushes to rescue the captured Agoji, he gets cranky and tells her to take the title and zip it. The next day, some Agoji get scrubbed down and lined up. Izugi hides her injury. She and Nawi have a plan: get sold, disarm guards, and bolt for the sea like old times. But Malik suddenly shows up, acting like a little drama queen. The Agoji seize the moment and make a break for it, but Nawi gets caught. Izugi turns back like a hero and gets shot. Nawi breaks free and runs over to Izogi and ugly cries all over her. Malik takes the offer and brings Nawi to a hotel room, That night, Naniska decides she's had enough of Giso's no-rescue policy and sets off solo for Port Wida. By morning, some loyalists catch up, and suddenly her odds don't look that bad. Meanwhile, at the palace, Shante rats out Naniska. She tells Giso to keep the celebration going so he doesn't look soft. Naniska and the squad arrive at Wida and take out the guards. They learn that Izagi is dead and Nawi has been taken. Naniska tells Amenza, "No prisoners, burn it all down." The Agoji and Dahomey soldiers go full apocalypse mode on the town. On the beach, Ferreira panics like a rat on a sinking ship, stuffing slaves onto a boat. But Malik finally realizes he's melanated and sets them free. Then they make sure Ferreira gets exactly what Karma had in stock for him. Naniska finds Oba again, and it's round 2. She slices his ear bling off before ending him permanently. But a soldier cocks a rifle behind her. Luckily, now he's there to save Mommy once again. More soldiers show up and she mows through them like it's just training. No scolding this time. Naniska's a proud parent. She calls for the Agoji and they march out. Back home, the palace is mid-party. Shantae's moment has arrived. She's about to be crowned Woman King. Suddenly, cheers erupt, and everyone's chanting Naniska's name. She walks in like a legend and hands Gezo Oba's sword. Gezo takes the sword and delivers a moving speech, then declares Naniska the Woman King. Later, mother and daughter have a heart-to-heart. Nawi apologizes because the blood in her comes from a killer who caused Naniska pain. Naniska apologizes too, for leaving her. She reassures her that none of it was Nawi's fault. Then Nawi just walks away. Naniska cries, then remembers she's the Woman King. She wipes her tears and dresses the part. Later, Nawi approaches, and for the first time, she calls her mother and asks her to dance. And just like that, they're moving with the rest of the Agoji. Then they watch those slave ships sail away,